So Tom Hanks has a new film coming out called Here. Here is very intriguing because at first it just came out of nowhere. I didn't know they even made this film. But it's him, Robin Wright, and Robert Zemeckis. Robert Zemeckis is the director. The trio made Forrest Gump together. Zemeckis won Best Director. Tom Hanks won Best Actor. The film won Best Picture. I don't think Robin Wright won anything for that, which is interesting. Playing Jan and this is the first time the trio's worked together in 30 years. I think Robin Wright's worked with Zemeckis in other projects. Tom worked with Zemeckis. They got together for the Polar Bear Express and Castaway, so they've had a long-standing relationship. But this film seems very intriguing because it's set in a house and it shows Penn and Hanks from the time they were teenagers when they first get into the house, maybe as a young couple, all the way up until they become old. And you see how their life is as ups and downs and highs and lows. And the funny thing about this is they use de-aging. So they de-age the actors, which is nothing new, but it's the way they're doing it. Like I remember for Captain America Civil War, there was that scene with Robert Downey Jr. and he's thinking about the past. And when he was younger, talking to his dad, Howard Stark, and you see a young Downey, like a Chaplain Downey, like a less than zero Downey on the screen. It's like, oh my God, I remember this dude. That's the pickup artist. I remember that young Downey. So that was amazing. So we've seen de-aging before. The difference between this de-aging is that they're doing it in real time. So if they're filming a scene where Hanks and Wright are in their 20s, in their early 20s, they have this AI software that takes all their interviews for their whole career. Everything that they've had, pictures, interviews, anything of Robert Wright and Sean Penn, Robin Wright and Tom Hanks, and they put it all in this AI software. So I said, okay, today we're filming you guys when you're 20 years old. So they film the scene and the AI is calculating and is finding all these images of them in their early 20s. So when they say cut and look at the playback, they see them, they watching the scene they just shot, but they're seeing their faces when they're in their early 20s or in their 30s or in their 40s in real time. This is just mind-boggling. What they can do with film these days is crazy. So I was on X, and since Tom Hanks' name's popped up, this thing popped up and says, what's your favorite Tom Hanks movie? That's hard to say. That dude is stellar. That dude, there was a streak. Tom Hanks was on a streak where he can do no wrong. Basically from probably Philadelphia up until maybe the Polar Bear Express, maybe. Like that dude was just cranking out films left and right. Like he was like when he made Splash originally and he had Big. There was a point between Big and Philadelphia where the films just weren't clicking. You had Joe versus the Volcano, The Money Pit, Bonfire of the Vanities, Dragnet, Turner and Hooch, which becomes a cult classic, but it wasn't the big hit people thought. Like he was really up and down in his career during that point. And then once he hit Philadelphia, he was just, and Denzel's like that. Tom Cruise is like that. Like I don't think we'll ever see a generation where it's like Tom Cruise and Denzel Washington, Tom Hanks and Will Smith, where you see these guys where they're just like every hit was fantastic. Do me a favor, look at Denzel Washington's films after Training Day. He won the Oscar for Training Day. He should have at least gone 2 or 3 more after that. Hanks got 2. Denzel got 2. Both of them should at least have 4 or 5. But look at all the films Denzel made after Training Day. It's outstanding. And he got Gladiator 2 coming out. And then he's also going to be in the next Doctor Strange movie. He's going to be in a Marvel movie. And he's 69. He'll be 70 by the time, 70, 71 when Doctor Strange 3 probably comes out. Crazy. So when I'm looking at this Hanks list, it's like there's Big, Forrest Gump, The Green Mile, Saving Private Ryan, Toy Story, Castaway, Catch Me If You Can, Road to Perdition. Hell, Philadelphia's not on here. The Polar Bear Express isn't on here. League of Their Own is on here. Dude, this guy has so many films. It's outrageous. Sully, he should have won an Oscar for Sully. He was great in Sully. So I'm looking at this. So of this list, I'm going to say Castaway. Castaway of all, and you can't go wrong even with this. There's not a wrong answer on this list. There is not. There's not a bad film on this list. The crazy thing is, Tom Hanks won his last Oscar for Forrest Gump. He did Private Ryan after Forrest Gump. He deserved an Oscar for Private Ryan. That's how good he is. Castaway, he should have won an Oscar for. And the reason he should have won an Oscar for Castaway is that for the majority of the film, it's just Tom. It's a one-man play. You're in a movie theater. You're paying your money to go see a movie. You're watching this one dude on screen for 2 hours. So for you to do that, the script has to be good, the acting has to be fantastic, and it has to be captivating for you to watch, and it is. Like whenever someone says Wilson, they think most times they automatically think about the Wilson volleyball with the handprint on it because Tommy cut his hand when he was on the island by himself, and the handprint was on there, and he, and Wilson became his best friend. I was like, can you imagine being on a deserted island by yourself with nobody around? You don't. At first you think, oh my God, there's hope. I'm going to get saved. You're not saved. How dark do you go into madness? His madness was Wilson, this volleyball became his friend because he had nothing. Wilson became his friend. And it was that scene when Wilson started to float away and Tom was like flipping out. It's like, this is all I got. I got to save. And he was willing to risk his life to save this volleyball because that's all he had. I don't think Tom Hanks really got enough credit for what he did in Castaway. Will Smith did the same thing in I Am Legend. Like, it's hard to keep fans captivated watching you by yourself for a whole film. And then people leaving the theater like, that was good. That was really good. But that's how Hanks is. Like, Hanks is just, I hate to say that we underrate his talent, but I think we do. I think we take this dude for granted. Because once he's done, because his films recently hasn't been making a lot of money. Probably after the Da Vinci Code, he had like something like Sully didn't make a lot of money, but it was critically acclaimed, right? The movie where it says, it's not Captain Jack, the one that says, I'm the captain now. He didn't say it. Look at me. I'm the captain now. One of the best lines ever, but he didn't even say it. I'm the captain now. Fantastic. So yeah, if I'm looking at this list, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. Big is fantastic. People love Toy Story. I think they're going to make another Toy Story. Perdition was the last film of Paul Newman. Fantastic mob movie. Oh, so good. But for me, my favorite Tom Hanks projects is not on this list. One is Bosom Buddies. Yes, it's not Emmy worthy. It's not Oscar caliber. It's not Tom Hanks in his dramatic best. It's just a silly show with him and Peter Scolari pretend to be Buffy and Hildegard to stay at this woman's hotel. It's such a silly premise, but the floppy-haired young Tom Hanks, who was almost like a young Michael Keaton and a young Bill Murray, was fantastic. His chemistry with Peter Scolari was amazing. Winnie's Joe Sperber, who I missed and loved because she passed away, was amazing as Amy. Donna Dixon was in it. Yeah, Ruth. The thing about Scolari and Hanks is that Scolari died a couple years ago, and him and Hanks were still close friends. Tom Hanks didn't have to be friends with Peter Scolari after Bosom Buddies. They could have gone their own separate ways. Scolari went to do Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and some other stuff. Hanks did put Scolari in That Thing You Do. He directed that film, and he put Hanks in it. But him and Hanks were still close. Him and Scolari were still close friends up until he died. That's friendship. I don't think people really understand friendship these days. But being on the show where they didn't even know each other when they first started, being friends like that with somebody up until death, when you don't even not even having that much time together because Hanks is off filming movies, that's special. And he was choked up about it when he was on Colbert talking about it. He loves Peter Scolari. So I love Bosom Buddies. Every time it's on MeTV on the marathon, I'm watching. The second favorite, is Bachelor Party. Bachelor Party should have never came out. Bachelor Party, Splash was a hit. And he had filmed Bachelor Party before Splash and was just sitting there collecting dust. And this is back when the studio's like, do we have a Tom Hanks movie? He's like, yeah, it's called Bachelor Party. We think it sucks. But he said, put it out. We can make money because of Splash. That film comes out. You can never make Bachelor Party today. Most of that stuff, I think they could, but most of that stuff is cut out. It was just a horror. It's a trashy comedy, but it's so good. You have a donkey sniffing blow. It's unbelievable. Oh, I love Bachelor Party. It's so crazy. But those are my two favorite Tom Hanks. I love the young, funny Tom Hanks. But when he started doing, like, once he got to Philadelphia, it's like, oh my God, this guy is really talented. And I didn't know he was in Cleveland. He was in Cleveland Theater. So it's like, oh my God, Tom Hanks is so talented. So yeah, Bosom Buddies and Bachelor Party is my favorites. But of these films, including like Apollo 13 and Philadelphia and Castaway and Robert the Perdition, Catch Me If You Can, and Saving Private Ryan, and Green Mile, and Big, and Forrest Gump. This dude's good. And we're going to miss him when his career is over. Shout out to Tom Hanks, a.k.a. Kid Wilson. Wilson! So good.